The mig15 was a design that made much use of wartime German developments in jet aircraft and engine technology that were passed on to the Soviets. The Germans, of course, pioneered swept-wing jet designs. There was British influence in the engine, however, because while the Soviets had access to German engine technology, Britain's Rolls-Royce Nene was seen as a better bet. To the surprise of many, the Soviets obtained a license from the British government and they produced that engine as the Klimov RD-45, which was later improved by the Soviets as the Klimov VK-1. MiG-15s came into service with the Soviet Air Force in 1959. The following year they went to war for the first time towards the end of the Chinese Civil War, when the Chinese communists were receiving Soviet assistance in the fight against nationalist forces. But their most famous combat successes were in Korea between 1950 and 53. In Korea, MiG-15s were flown by Soviet and Chinese pilots as well as the North Koreans themselves, and it was, as I said, a group of Chinese-flown MiG-15s that those Sea Furies flying from HMS Ocean encountered on the 9th of August 1952. It was a very effective tactic of the MiG-15s to wait in altitude in large groups and then split to pounce on the aircraft of the United Nations forces. They gained air superiority over an area of northwestern Korea that became known as Mig Alley and forced the United Nations to suspend daylight attacks by the B-29 Super Fortress heavy bombers of the US Air Force in favor of night missions. However, at lower levels, the most effective UN-operated jet fighter of the Korean conflict, the North American F-86 Sabre, had the edge over the MiG, and the greater experience of the American pilots especially began to win the day, especially when later model F-86s become available. But piston engine fighters like the Sea Fury could also be very effective against the new jet.